Today, I followed the trail of a large python moving across the dry savanna of Tanzania. A long track in the sand led us toward a patch of low grass ahead. This hunt did not depend on speed. It required careful observation, patience, and the ability to maintain a safe distance. For the Hadza people, a large python can provide a valuable source of food for many members of the community. Several low branches had been pushed aside, while dry leaves between the rocks had been disturbed in a continuous line. From the size of the trail, we could tell that an adult python had recently passed through the area and was probably hiding somewhere nearby. Our group circled the area to determine the animal's exact direction of travel. As the sun rises, pythons often seek shade, rocky crevices, or open spaces beneath thick bushes. The trail continued toward a rough stretch of ground where large rocks were scattered among low thorny shrubs. On the hard surface, the python's track nearly disappeared, forcing us to study disturbed dust, freshly scraped bark, and blades of grass bent in the same direction. Each sign was small, but together they showed that the python was moving toward an area filled with fallen tree trunks near the rocky crevices. We stopped at a safe distance and watched the dark spaces beneath the fallen logs. One hunter used a long branch to check the grass along the outside, while the others took positions around the area and watched for movement. After a while, the dry leaves beneath one of the logs suddenly shifted. Through a gap between two fallen trunks, part of the python's patterned body slowly came into view. Its brown, yellow, and black markings blended with the dry ground, tree bark, and shadows between the rocks, making it nearly impossible to see. The python was tightly coiled, with most of its body hidden and its head still out of sight, so no one rushed forward. A moment later, the python slowly raised its head above the leaves and began to stretch out its body. It had likely sensed the vibrations beneath the ground. The group immediately spread out, avoiding the space directly in front of the animal's head while keeping watch over both escape routes. Everyone held their bows ready as they tried to control its direction, while I moved in from the side. Another hunter watched the terrain to make sure no one tripped over the rocks or became trapped among the thorny bushes. The python repeatedly tightened its body and tried to slip toward the rocky crevice, forcing us to work together, maintain a safe distance, and move with extreme caution. After a long struggle, we finally gained control of the situation before the animal could disappear deeper among the rocks. When the hunt was over, we rested briefly beneath an acacia tree and checked our equipment before returning to camp. The python was heavy, so we took turns carrying it across the rocky ground and through the thorny brush. As soon as we reached the edge of camp, everyone began clearing a flat area, gathering dry firewood, and building a fire. The python was cleaned and divided into portions for cooking. The more experienced members handled the food and guided the younger people, while others brought water, added wood to the fire, and organized the cooking area. Before long, smoke drifted through the camp, mixing with conversation and the laughter of children. Once the food was ready, it was divided evenly among the families. The elders and children received their portions first, and even those who had joined the hunt did not keep the best pieces for themselves. Around the fire, we told the story of following the python's trail through the low bushes and large rocks. The elders added their knowledge about reading tracks, studying the terrain, and approaching a python's hiding place, while the children sat nearby and listened carefully. As the sun disappeared beyond the horizon, darkness slowly covered the Tanzanian savanna, but the camp remained bright with firelight and conversation. The hunt provided more than a shared meal. It also helped preserve the knowledge and spirit of generosity that the Hadza people have passed down through generations.
O amanhecer foi iluminando lentamente a vasta savana e as extensas áreas de floresta esparsa. A manhã rapidamente se tornou movimentada quando muitos animais deixaram seus locais de descanso em busca de alimento. Um grupo de antílopes caminhou tranquilamente para os campos abertos. Alguns coelhos apareceram entre os arbustos baixos e um leão adulto avançava lentamente pela relva alta à procura de uma presa. A um acampamento próximo, os caçadores da tribo acordaram antes do nascer do sol e verificaram cuidadosamente seus arcos, flechas, lanças, facas e cordas antes de partir. Depois de concluírem todos os preparativos, o grupo deixou o acampamento e seguiu para o interior da savana, esperando encontrar presas adequadas para a caçada do dia. A tribo atravessou grandes campos, florestas esparsas e arbustos baixos, avançando com cautela enquanto observava todos os sinais de atividade animal no solo. De repente, alguns coelhos correram rapidamente para uma área aberta em busca de alimento. Um dos caçadores parou imediatamente, armou o arco e acertou 2 coelhos com precisão em poucos instantes. As presas foram rapidamente amarradas com cordas e carregadas para facilitar a continuação da jornada. Sem perder tempo, o grupo prosseguiu para regiões mais profundas da savana, observando o terreno, pegadas e áreas onde animais de maior porte poderiam aparecer, preparando-se para a principal caçada do dia. Ao avançar ainda mais pela savana, os caçadores encontraram inesperadamente um leão adulto espreitando silenciosamente entre a relva alta. Todos pararam imediatamente e o observaram de uma distância segura para não serem percebidos. Depois de uma curta perseguição, o leão concluiu sua própria caçada e a região voltou gradualmente ao silêncio. Percebendo que aquele era o momento ideal, os caçadores prepararam rapidamente seus arcos e lanças, escolhendo cuidadosamente a melhor posição para se aproximar. Quando reduziram a distância, as primeiras flechas foram disparadas em rápida sequência. O leão reagiu imediatamente, tentou se defender e fugiu pelos campos. Após uma perseguição curta, acabou sendo dominado, encerrando a maior caçada do dia. Depois de deixar o local onde haviam abatido o leão, a tribo continuou atravessando a savana em busca de mais alimento. Pouco depois, encontrou um grupo de antílopes pastando tranquilamente próximo a arbustos baixos. O rebanho mudava constantemente de posição, mantendo certa distância entre os indivíduos para vigiar os arredores. Um antílope adulto foi se afastando lentamente do grupo e entrou em uma área mais aberta. Os caçadores dividiram-se imediatamente em várias direções, aproveitando o terreno e a vegetação para se aproximarem sem serem vistos. Quando o animal acelerou para fugir, várias flechas foram disparadas em sequência. A perseguição durou pouco antes de o antílope ser abatido, enquanto o restante do grupo fugia rapidamente da área de perigo. Após concluírem as caçadas, a tribo começou a se preparar para retornar ao acampamento. O antílope e os dois coelhos foram firmemente amarrados com cordas para facilitar o transporte durante todo o percurso. Os caçadores se revezavam carregando as presas nos ombros enquanto seguiam por trilhas conhecidas através dos campos abertos, das florestas esparsas e dos caminhos habituais. O ambiente tornou-se mais silencioso à medida que deixavam a área de caça para trás. Depois de uma longa caminhada, as cabanas da tribo começaram a surgir à frente. Todos levaram rapidamente as presas para o acampamento a fim de preparar a refeição de toda a comunidade. Ao retornar ao acampamento, a tribo começou a preparar a carne obtida durante a caçada para a refeição. A carne foi cortada em várias partes e colocada em panelas de barro com água para cozinhar sobre fogo. Os dois coelhos também foram limpos e colocados para assar ao lado da fogueira. A fumaça subia lentamente, espalhando pelo acampamento o aroma da carne sendo preparada. Os membros da tribo se revezavam adicionando lenha, cuidando do fogo e verificando o alimento nas panelas. Quando a carne ficou macia, foi dividida em porções para todos. Toda a tribo reuniu-se ao redor da fogueira para saborear a refeição quente e conversar depois de um longo dia de caça e deslocamento pela imensa natureza. À medida que a luz do sol diminuía sobre a savana, a paisagem ao redor voltava ao seu estado habitual de tranquilidade. Depois da refeição, os membros da tribo descansavam junto ao acampamento. A vida na vasta savana foi desacelerando aos poucos, encerrando mais um dia de caça e convivência em meio à natureza selvagem.
Let's explore the Hadza people, one of the few remaining hunter-gatherer communities still living in the world today. They inhabit the savannas and sparse woodlands of northern Tanzania, where daily life remains deeply connected to nature. As the first light of dawn appears, members of the tribe begin preparing for a new hunting expedition. One by one, they carefully inspect their bows, arrows, knives, and other essential tools before setting out. Each type of arrow is specially designed for different kinds of prey. Once every preparation is complete, the hunting party quietly enters the forest, beginning another journey in search of food. Deep inside the forest, the hunters soon discover a flock of small birds feeding on the ground and perching on low branches nearby. After choosing a favorable shooting distance, each hunter quietly raises a bow and patiently waits for the perfect moment. Within seconds, several arrows fly with remarkable accuracy. A few birds immediately fall to the ground, while the rest panic, take flight together, and quickly disappear beyond the treetops. The hunters swiftly collect the birds they have captured, tie them together, and carry them along. After checking the surrounding area, the group continues deeper into the forest.
Hadzabe.
Not long afterward, the hunters find fresh footprints and clear signs left by an African wild boar on the soft forest floor. The group immediately slows down and quietly follows the trail through dense vegetation. Once close enough, the most experienced hunter slowly draws his bow and releases an arrow toward the animal. The arrow strikes its target, causing the boar to bolt deeper into the forest. Remaining calm, the hunters follow the tracks and the blood trail left behind. After a fairly long pursuit, the boar finally loses its strength and collapses in an open grassy area. The hunters quickly secure the animal, tie it firmly, and continue their hunt. Continuing across the open savanna, the hunters spot a small herd of antelope peacefully grazing. After selecting one individual, a hunter quickly raises his bow and fires a well-aimed arrow. The antelope manages to run only a short distance before collapsing. Just as the group prepares to carry away the prize, a lion suddenly appears nearby, attracted by the scent of blood. The hunters immediately keep a safe distance, spread out, and carefully watch every movement of the predator. After several minutes of observing without approaching, the lion slowly leaves the area. Once everything is safe again, the hunters securely tie the antelope and begin carrying all of their game back to the camp. While the hunters return carrying the wild boar, antelope, and birds they have harvested, the women of the tribe spend their time digging for wild tubers and gathering edible plants around the settlement. After finishing their work, they gather everything they have collected and wrap it securely inside the cloth garments they wear, making it easier to carry back. The men take turns carrying the hunted animals, while the women transport the gathered foods. Once everyone has safely returned, all of the food is brought together in the communal area, ready to be prepared for the shared meal that follows a full day of work in nature. After gathering all the hunted game and foraged foods, the members of the tribe quickly begin preparing the meal. Meat from the animals is carefully cleaned, cut into manageable pieces, and placed into cooking pots to simmer over the fire. At the same time, the freshly collected wild tubers are cleaned and prepared to accompany the meal. Once everything is cooked, the food is shared fairly among everyone, reflecting a tradition that has been preserved for generations. The entire community gathers together to enjoy the meal while talking about the day's hunting journey. After dinner, songs and traditional dances once again fill the air around the campfire, bringing another peaceful day in the life of the Hadza people to a close.
Between the vast savannas of Tanzania, while the sky was still cloaked in deep blue before dawn, the Hadzabe camp had already begun to stir. The men quietly left their resting places, carrying handcrafted wooden bows, familiar arrows, and generations of accumulated hunting experience. They spoke very little. Each of them understood that today's journey would be unlike their usual hunts for small game. Their target was an old elephant that was often seen near the open woodlands. And along the way, they would also have to contend with one of Africa's most formidable reptiles, the African rock python. As the morning sunlight gradually spread across the savanna, the group moved in single file through knee-high grass and scattered thorny bushes. The lead hunter constantly examined the ground, broken branches, and freshly compressed patches of earth to determine the elephant's direction of travel. To the Hadzabe, a fully grown elephant was not only a precious source of food, but also the greatest challenge a hunter could face. No one was allowed to be impatient. Even the smallest mistake could force the entire group to pay a heavy price. After several hours of tracking, they came across tree trunks stripped of their bark and large branches that had been freshly snapped. The atmosphere grew even more tense as the distance between them and the elephant steadily closed. The hunters quickly spread out in different directions to maintain a safe distance while carefully observing every movement the animal made. Rather than rushing in recklessly, they patiently waited for the right opportunity. In the Hadzabe world, remaining calm had always been more important than relying on strength. The elephant finally emerged into an open stretch of woodland, slowly wrapping its trunk around young branches. Everyone remained almost perfectly still for several minutes. Only when the animal turned and exposed a favorable opening did a single arrow fly through the air. Several more arrows soon followed from different positions. The moment they noticed the elephant beginning to react, the entire group immediately retreated to a safe distance. They knew all too well that an agitated elephant could charge at astonishing speed and become a greater danger than any predator roaming this land. The journey continued for several more hours. While crossing an area filled with rocks and dense brush, the hunting dogs suddenly came to a halt and began barking relentlessly toward a fallen tree. A massive African rock python lay coiled beneath the shade, almost perfectly blending into the earth and the layer of dry leaves. Without the dog's warning, the group could easily have approached dangerously close without ever realizing it was there. No one rushed forward. The hunters slowly moved to either side, carefully watching the python's every movement. As it gradually slithered out of its hiding place, its large head continuously turned toward even the slightest movement around it. Only when the distance became favorable did one hunter release an arrow, causing the python to instantly coil its body tightly and thrash violently. Even then, the group maintained a safe distance, patiently waiting for the snake's resistance to weaken before moving in. It was this careful approach that allowed the Hadzabe to minimize the risks of confronting animals capable of launching such powerful counterattacks. By late afternoon, the group returned to the camp with the rewards of their long journey across the savannah. As soon as they appeared, those who had remained behind hurried over to help. The meat was divided into manageable portions for cooking, while a large fire was quickly built in the center of the camp. Some people cut the meat into bite-sized pieces, while others prepared firewood and the simple cooking tools that had served their people for generations. Before long, the aroma of roasted meat drifted throughout the camp, blending with cheerful laughter after a long day. Everyone gathered around the fire to celebrate the day's success and share the freshly prepared meal together. The elders slowly recounted the most memorable moments of the hunt, while the children listened intently with eyes full of fascination. After hours of tension in the wilderness, the meal became a time for the entire community to share the fruits of their labor and strengthen the bonds between them. For the Hadzabe, meals like these did far more than satisfy hunger. They were opportunities to pass down knowledge, preserve tradition, and maintain the spirit of unity that had sustained their people for countless generations.
While the modern world depends on farming, storage, and technology, the Hadzabe still survive through a skill that is slowly disappearing: knowing when enough is enough. In northern Tanzania, there's a tribe that has lived for tens of thousands of years. To them, the forest is not something to exploit. It is the place where they belong. It is their living space, their collective memory, and a source of knowledge passed down through footprints, trails, and direct experience. There are no harvest seasons, no stockpiles. Each day exists through their ability to read the forest and understand their own limits. Before leaving camp, the men do not make rigid plans. They prepare their tools, and the forest decides the rest. Their bows are made from local wood. The strings from animal tendons or natural fibers, and the arrows are kept light. They are precise enough to hunt small animals like monkeys, but at times they also become the only thing that helps them protect themselves from sudden danger. checking the bow and arrows is not a ritual. It is like checking one's breathing before stepping into a long day. The tools must feel like part of the hand, because for the Hadzabe, a mistake is not just a missed opportunity. It can also make the whole group pay the price. Trips into the forest often begin in silence. The dogs follow, not because of commands, but because of a bond built through living together. They move with the people as part of the group, reading scents, sounds, and subtle movements far beyond what the human eye can reach. But today, what waits in the bushes is not a small animal that can be approached easily. It is a leopard, a dangerous predator, fast, alert, and skilled at hiding. Facing it is not a matter of strength, but of calmness, experience, and accurate judgment. An arrow leaving the bowstring is not the only decisive moment. It is a result of everything that came before it. If they are forced to release an arrow, the Hadzabe will not leave in haste. They continue following the trail until the situation is truly over. Because in this forest, a wounded animal can become a danger to both people and other living creatures. Along the journey, there are moments when they are not actively searching, yet the forest still reveals important signs. A patch of disturbed earth, fresh claw marks on a tree trunk, or a strange movement beneath the low vegetation. Long walks through the forest demand energy, and the Hadzabe rely on what nature provides. Honey is one of those rewards. Even though the hives are high above the ground and always carry danger, they do not take from them by force. Smoke is used to create a brief opening. They take only enough, eat it right there, and move on. For the Hadzabe, this is not a luxury food, but energy for the journey, leaving no waste and without breaking their relationship with the environment. When food is brought back to camp, it does not belong only to the person who found it or the one who shot the arrow. The women prepare the fire. The meat is cooked simply. People sit close together. No one eats first. No one keeps a private portion for themselves. Here, food does more than sustain the body. It sustains a community. No one survives alone in the forest. That is why sharing is not just a moral choice, but a condition for survival. The Hadzabe have survived for thousands of years not because they're stronger than nature, but because they do not place themselves above it. They hunt when necessary, stop when they have enough, avoid conflict when possible. And act only when there is no other choice. While the modern world keeps accumulating more in order to feel safe, the Hadzabe remind us of something simple but difficult to practice. True security does not come from having more, but from knowing how much is enough and when to stop. As dawn begins to spread across the savannah surrounding Lake Iasi, a new day also begins for the Hadzabe, one of the few remaining hunter-gatherer communities in the world. Without phones, maps, or any modern equipment, they leave camp carrying wooden bows, handmade arrows, and generations of knowledge about how to read the natural world. Every footprint in the soil, broken branch, or shift in the wind can become an important clue, guiding them toward the food their community will need that day. After leaving camp, the hunters slowly enter the open woodland, keeping their distance from one another and carefully watching every step. They move quietly to avoid disturbing the dry grass or making sounds that could alert their prey. Their eyes remain fixed on the treetops, low branches, and openings between the bushes. After a long and patient search, they spot a large flock of birds gathered in a tree ahead. The group immediately stops, lowers their bodies, and silently watches the birds covering the branches as they wait for the right moment to move closer. Once they are close enough, the hunters remain completely silent. Suddenly, the birds notice movement below and burst from the branches all at once, creating a brief moment of chaos. One hunter quickly rises, draws his bow, and aims at the flock flying across the open space ahead. Within seconds, he releases a string, sending an arrow into the air and striking one of the birds as the flock scatters. The hunt ends successfully, providing the first food of the day before the group continues deeper into the woodland. For the Hadzabe, buffalo are large prey animals that can provide a significant amount of food, but they are also extremely dangerous. On the dry ground, The hunters discover a set of very fresh tracks and realize that a herd has recently passed through the area. No one rushes forward. They keep their distance, quietly study the signs, and slowly follow the direction the animals have taken. When the massive dark shapes begin to appear behind the bushes, the hunters immediately lower themselves and approach from downwind. One hunter carefully raises his bow and releases an arrow, causing an entire herd to move at once. Hunting buffalo requires teamwork, composure, and the ability to recognize exactly when to advance and when to retreat. After the successful hunts, the group turns its attention to finding wild honey. When they discover a beehive hidden deep inside a tree trunk, one man quickly lights a bundle of dry grass to create smoke, while the others stand below and help remove pieces of honeycomb filled with golden honey. They then continue searching for wild tubers. By studying subtle signs on the ground, the group identifies the right location and uses digging sticks to carefully remove the soil layer by layer without damaging the starchy roots beneath it. For the Hadzabe, both collecting honey and digging for tubers require experience, patience, and the ability to accurately interpret nature's signals. As the afternoon light begins to fade, the hunters return to camp with the results of their long day. The food is cleaned, placed in the center of the gathering area, and divided evenly among everyone. No one argues over who caught the most or who deserves the largest share. Beside the glowing coals, the smell of roasting meat spreads throughout the camp, while the children sit close to the adults and listen carefully to stories about footprints, wind direction, and dangerous moments from the day. This knowledge is not found in books. It is passed from one generation to the next through stories, actions, and the rhythm of everyday life. In a world being transformed each day by technology and the pace of modern life, the Hadzabe continue to live close to nature, much as their ancestors did thousands of years ago. They may not have many of the conveniences most of us consider essential, but they possess a deep understanding of the natural world, a strong spirit of sharing, and an ability to adapt that modern society is gradually losing. A day in the life of the Hadzabe is not simply a search for food. It is also a reminder that human beings once lived in harmony with nature rather than trying to conquer it.
In a world driven by speed, technology, and ever-growing modern comforts, one community continues to live almost entirely according to the rhythms of its ancestors. Across the semi-arid land surrounding Lake Ayasi, the Hadzabe begin each morning without alarm clocks, electricity, or machines to make their work easier. Whenever they leave camp, they carry the same question with them. What will nature provide today? To many outsiders, such a life may seem harsh and uncertain, but to the Hadzabe, it is the way of life that has sustained their people for tens of thousands of years. While mist still hangs over the savannah, the Hadzabe hunters gather around the fire to prepare their equipment. First, each wooden arrow shaft is carefully straightened. They then adjust the bows and examine their curves to make sure they will produce the right amount of power. The arrow shafts are trimmed evenly, smoothed, and balanced by hand. Each arrowhead is sharpened, firmly secured, and when intended for larger prey, coated with poison extracted from native plants. Once every step is complete, the hunters draw their bowstrings and perform a final check of their equipment. No one rushes, because even the smallest mistake could cause the entire hunt to fail. As the sun climbs higher, the hunters quietly move deeper into the open woodland. They step carefully, avoiding dry leaves and any sound that might alert the animals nearby. Their eyes continually scan the ground for the smallest disturbance. After following several fresh tracks, they notice more overlapping trails and patches of soft soil that have recently been disturbed. The repeated signs suggest that more than one animal has passed through the area. By studying the direction of the tracks and the spacing between the flattened patches of grass, the group realizes that a number of wild hares are hiding somewhere in the sheltered ground ahead. Following the fresh tracks across the soil, the group slowly advances and discovers several wild hares feeding with their heads lowered, completely unaware that danger is approaching. The hunters immediately stop and crouch close to the ground. When the distance becomes favorable, the first arrow leaves the bowstring, cuts through the dry grass, and strikes one of the hares. Almost immediately, a second arrow flies toward another animal attempting to escape. The two hares become the first successful catch of the day, providing valuable food and renewed energy before the hunters continue farther into the wilderness. Life constantly requires the Hadzabe to remain patient and pay attention to even the smallest signs. When the group discovers fresh tracks left by a herd of antelope, everyone slows down and begins watching the surrounding land from different positions. After following the trail for a long distance, the antelope finally appear in an open clearing, still feeding calmly. One hunter slowly raises his bow, waits for the nearest animal to separate from the herd, and releases the string. The arrow flies forward, sending the animals running in every direction. For the Hadzabe, a successful hunt depends not only on an accurate shot, but also on calm judgment, tracking ability, and patience refined over generations. As the afternoon light begins to fade, the hunters return to camp carrying the results of the day's journey. The animals are cleaned, cooked over glowing coals, and divided among the families. No one keeps a larger share simply because he fired the successful shot, because food is considered something that belongs to the entire community. Once everyone has eaten, the camp becomes quieter and more peaceful. For the Hadzabe, every hunt brings back more than food. It also allows knowledge, cooperation, trust, and the lessons of survival to continue passing from one generation to the next. While much of humanity now lives alongside smartphones and artificial intelligence, the Hadzabe continue following a way of life that has changed very little over tens of thousands of years. They own few possessions, yet they carry skills that the modern world is gradually losing. They have little material abundance, but sharing remains at the center of their community. They do not spend their lives racing against time, yet every day has a clear purpose. The Hadzabe way of life is not merely a remnant of the distant past. It is living proof that people can still find meaning, connection, and happiness by existing in harmony with the natural world.